Is this serious? Are we actually being serious? Come on. You gotta be kidding me! Sports. Yay. Welcome into Cole's Corner. It's a Friday afternoon. Wherever you may be listening, however you may be listening, here from Buffalo. Good afternoon to anyone listening. It's the weekend. The weekend's finally here. We got football. College football, week 2 of the NFL. Doesn't get any better than this. And we're talking sports. Just like every other day. You know, I want to start the show off with sports stories. We all love the great sports story. The journey to success after a lot of failure, not getting that chance, finally getting the chance to do something. You move up in ranks, make people proud, make people tear up, cry tears of joy. And that's what sports can do for you. The miracle, the 1980 Olympics. USA taking down the Soviet Union, the almighty Soviet Union. How about the 2004 Red Sox? Curse of the Bambino, 86 years. Come back from down 3-0 in the ALCS to the Yankees, win 4 straight, and then sweep the Cards in the Fall Classic. How about LeBron James and his journey in Cleveland, goes to Miami, wins a couple titles, comes back, wins a title for Cleveland. Those are the type of stories we love to see. Every day, every year, there's something new, but there's the ones that stick out. Very rare. I read an article yesterday, written by ESPN's Ryan McGee, really well written. It's titled, "A Cajun, a Dream, and the SEC's Most Bizarre Rivalry." This is referring to LSU, their coach, Ed Orgeron. We all love a great sports story. The journey it takes a lifetime to build, finally succeed in it. Well, this Saturday, there's a big football game being played in Auburn, Alabama. There's the real sort of beginning to what could be a great story in college football. And around 3:30 Saturday, the LSU Tigers will run out of the tunnel led by their head coach, Ed Orgeron. And you want to talk about a good coaching story. This man has bounced around all over the college football spectrum. Failure, minor failure, major failure, everything in between. Grew up an LSU Tiger fan. Lived 100 miles from Death Valley. Played there for a year, transferred. And then now he's finally became the head honch in purple and gold. It's a journey between then and now that strikes you. And after a 2-0 start in 2018, his Tigers will play the other Tigers, the Auburn Tigers, for the first SEC matchup of the year. It's going to determine Orgeron's success in the sport, and here's why. Ed Orgeron, I mentioned, grew up big LSU fan. Lived in Louisiana. 100 miles from Death Valley. Lived in the center of La Rose. It took him 53 years to get where he's wanted to be, and it went through bumps and bruises, roads, valleys, roller coasters. Started off at Northwestern State, McNeese State, Miami. He was one of the defensive coaches from 88 to 92 in the glory days of Miami football, the U. Went to Nicholls State, Syracuse, my men in orange, USC, where he coached under Pete Carroll, won a national championship. Ole Miss, did not go well there. Tried out the NFL, New Orleans Saints, short stint. Back to the SEC in Tennessee, and back to USC again, where he was under Lane Kiffin, took over as the interim head coach. And finally to Baton Rouge, where he's always wanted to be. He blew it so many different ways. Blew it a lot of his chances. Got in legal trouble, had a bar fight, had a restraining order against him. Split with his wife. And at 31, he feared his career was over. He was done. He thought he was done. It was over with. But he got himself back into it. Shout out to Syracuse, men in the orange. Credits then head coach Paul Pasqualoni with resuscitating his career and hireability, end quote. This gave him life to get back on his journey and what he wanted to do. Like I mentioned, earned a couple national title rings with Pete Carroll at USC. Hired in 2005 at Ole Miss. Blew it. Dumpster fire in Ole Miss. He accepts the fact that he ruined himself there. He took responsibility for not letting people do their jobs. He tried to run the offense, defense, special teams, recruiting. He tried to do all of it, and he said there's no way he could. He tried, and now he knows. You can't handle all that. You got to let other people on the staff do their job. You run the team. He said at Miami he learned how to coach, but didn't know how to act as a man. It's where we see the legal trouble and the bar fight, the restraining order. But at Ole Miss, he learned how to coach and become a better man. All things that would help. And then you end up as the interim head coach at USC. Turns out pretty well. And now he ends up at LSU. SEC, the powerhouse of college football. Best conference. You have all the rivalries. Georgia, Auburn, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, the Egg Bowl, the Iron Bowl, any bowl you can imagine. And the crazy, bizarre rivalry they speak to in the headline was LSU and Auburn. And kind of speaks to how Orgeron got his job. Orgeron was an assistant coach for Les Miles at LSU when Miles was on the hot seat. The Tigers were 2-1. Playing Auburn on the road. LSU, a dramatic touchdown pass to expire as time expired to win 1918. But they reviewed it. They did not get the snap off in time. Tigers lose to the other Tigers. On the flight back, Orgeron mentioned how terrible it was. Everyone kind of knew it was going to happen. The next day, Les Miles was fired. Orgeron steps in. He's the new head coach. Interim head coach. The rest of the year, he leads the Tigers to an 8-4 record, which was good for considering the situation. Went 6-2 as the head coach. In quote, I found strength in treating these boys like they're my sons. I was different. I wasn't a drill sergeant all the time. He learned how to work with his players, become more of a father figure for these young men. And the next year didn't go as well. They went 9-4 with a big loss at home to Troy. Really had him on the hot seat. But you know what else happened? They came back and beat Auburn after being down 20-0. Come back and beat the 10th ranked Auburn Tigers. And that's where he stands, and that's what put him in this position to be the helm of the LSU Tigers in Baton Rouge. And after a 2-0 start, he's heading back to Auburn, where it ultimately gave him this position after the Les Miles firing. You talk about a chance to prove yourself here, and it's Ed Orgeron. And if they can win, the LSU Tigers have an outstanding year, maybe win the SEC. You're talking probably one of the greatest sports stories that we could see, and when it comes to college football, at least. So, look for that. 3:30 CBS on Saturday. LSU at Auburn. LSU ranked 12 in the country. Auburn number 7 in the country. We'll be looking for that. Everyone loves to see it. We love college football. Go LSU. Alright. Let's start it. Let's go. Time to talk some more. We got a lot of football coming. NFL. But here's something. See, I was supposed to do the show yesterday. Didn't work out. A lot of conflicting schedule issues. Yesterday, I like to do something today in sports history. I like doing that. So, not today in sports history, but yesterday. September 13th. This day in history. In 1909, Ty Cobb, I'm sure we've all heard of him, clinches the AL home run title with his 9th home run. All of which were inside the park home runs. And he was the AL home run champion. You want to talk about a transformation, a revolution of the game of baseball over those 100 years? He had 9 home runs. He was the AL champion. These days, if you're not hitting over 40, you're not going to get that. Today in 2018, we have J.D. Martinez for the Boston Red Sox in the running to become the MLB Triple Crown winner. The funny thing is, he's battling with his own teammate, Mookie Betts, for that. Martinez has a .330 average, 41 home runs, which he's tied in the American League and the entire league with Chris Davis of Oakland at 41. And he has the most runs batted in the entire league with 122. So if he could beat out his teammate for batting average, we're going to have an MLB Triple Crown winner. And also the Boston Red Sox are 101 wins. Got their 101st win last night. First time they've won 100 games since 1946. Talk about a scary team, scary couple of players on that team. Just how the game revolutionizes is just crazy to see. It's wild. 9 home runs Ty Cobb had. He was the AL home run champion. None of them went over the fence. Talk about how deep those fences were, man. Alright. So that was our yesterday in sports history. Let's move on to the NFL. We're calling this Cole's Confidence Picks. Each game in the NFL, we rank our confidence in each game from 16 to 1, 16 being the most confident. You get more points for each win. Last week did terrible. Not a good week. Number 1, I had my number 1 most confident pick, the Saints over the Buccaneers at home. They lose 48-40 in a shootout. The Saints defense was non-existent of Ryan Fitzpatrick under center for the Bucs. It's unbelievable. And it's week 1. It's very tough to judge. But here we go. Cole's confidence picks. We're going to start from the bottom going up. Number 1. This game is just so... I'm not confident. It's a Sunday night game. New York Giants at the Dallas Cowboys. I'm taking the Giants. They played a good game last week against Jacksonville. They just could not score on that defense. We saw Saquon Barkley run out a 60-plus yard touchdown. That's what gives me hope for this team. And the Cowboys, the Giants shut down Ezekiel Elliott. It's all on Dak Prescott. I don't have a lot of faith in Dak Prescott. Yes, he's made plays. He had an outstanding rookie season, another good sophomore season. We'll see, but the Giants can shut down Zeke. Giants win. My second pick here, least confident. This is going to be a great game. This is the Jacksonville Jaguars Super Bowl. They're hosting the New England Patriots, a team they blew a 10-point lead to in the fourth quarter of the AFC Championship game. This is their Super Bowl, and it's in week 2. Well, here's the thing. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they're a very emotional team. A lot of hype. They like to talk a lot. I think they're going to get way too overhyped, too emotional for this game, and it's going to be the New England Patriots, who don't have any emotion, any really character, like crazy up there, out of the world character. They're tough, they're stern, they look straight ahead, they focus on what's in front of them. That's the Bill Belichick rubbing off on everyone in the organization. Patriots are going to come in and win this game. The reason I'm not as confident in it is because Jacksonville is still a great football team and has the best chance outside of the Patriots to win the AFC this year. And it's in Jacksonville. So if they could put the motions aside, Jacksonville could win this game, but I got New England. At 3, another great game. It's going to show a lot about Mr. Kirk Cousins. The multi-million-dollar man, the guy who was franchise tagged by Washington for years. Couldn't get a lot done. That's why Washington didn't keep him. He's had 2 big games in his career, blew both of them. He's coming to Minnesota, a team that just went 13-3, got to the NFC title game. They paid him to come win this game, and it's in Green Bay to beat Aaron Rodgers. They paid Kirk Cousins to win this game. We don't care about the Bears at home. We're going to win that. We don't care about the Lions at home. We're going to win that game. Or at Detroit, in Chicago. We paid you to come beat Aaron Rodgers in Lambeau. And if they can't do it this week, I don't know if it'll ever happen because Aaron Rodgers is hurt. Devontae Adams is hurt. We don't know if they're going to play or not. But the Packers are still the Packers with Aaron Rodgers, and that's why I'm not too confident in this win for the Vikings. But I still have the Vikings winning it. At 4. This might be, possibly, could be the worst overall game of the week. Seattle at Chicago. I'm very, very hesitant on the Seattle Seahawks as of right now. The Seahawks do not impress me. The Legion of Boom is done. It's over with. They're on their way down. If Russell Wilson can't keep this thing put together, Seahawks aren't going to make the playoffs. Who knows what's going to happen to Pete Carroll? And the Bears, Mitch Trubisky, they blew a 20-point lead to the Packers last week. We saw what Mitch Trubisky really was down the stretch. I'm taking the Bears, though, on Monday night at home. It's going to be an interesting game. Not too confident in it. Here's another one that I was more confident in here at number 5, more earlier than I was now, and that's why I kind of moved them down. I had it around the 9 point. Kansas City at Pittsburgh. Now, Pittsburgh, yesterday in my other show, Beyond the Box Score, Pittsburgh is number 3 on my dumpster fire list, top 5. After Le'Veon Bell still sitting out. Le'Veon Bell is still sitting out. Not playing. Just sitting, watching. Steelers just tied the Browns. Big Ben had 5 interceptions. I don't know what's going to happen with Pittsburgh, but they're playing at home against a Kansas City team that rolled over LA last week, but they also have Patrick Mahomes in only a second career start. And when you play in Pittsburgh, it's a tough environment. But I'm going to take Kansas City, but it's on a lower spectrum of confident because I had them in the middle. I'm going to pull it down a little bit just because it's Pittsburgh and they somehow find ways to win games. They're still in my dumpster fire. That's number 5. At number 6, Oakland. High on my dumpster fire as well. They're going to go into Denver and lose. The Raiders, a team that I had possibly had a shot at winning the AFC West, they're going to start 0-2. And Denver's going to be 2-0. A flip of the script. Mr. Case Keenum. Denver won against Seattle last week. I knew that game was going to be a tough one. They went in and got the job done, and that gives me confidence to have them beating the Oakland Raiders, John Gruden, here in week 2. Raiders going to go 0-2. John Gruden's going to be already in the hot seat after signing a $100 million contract. So that's my 6th pick. At number 7, Atlanta Falcons are going to bounce back from week 1 and take down Carolina. Cam Newton. Because it's a tough play to play in Atlanta. The NFC South, it's up for grabs between New Orleans, Carolina, and Atlanta. 3 teams that could win that. And then you're throwing in the Buccaneers team that just beat the Saints. They're right there too. It's going to be tough. It's a tough division. Probably the toughest one in the NFC. And Matt Ryan, he's going to bounce back. It's going to be a good game. They're going to win, so they'll both be 1-1. Be even it out a little bit. They'll be tight, just like we expected. At number 8, Indianapolis Colts, Andrew Luck. They're going to bounce back. Andrew Luck's going to get his first win in 2 years. At Washington. Washington doesn't impress me yet. Yes, they beat up on Arizona. Arizona doesn't impress me either. We knew they were going to finish last in the NFC West. So, Indy, Andrew Luck, and Washington win. Number 9. This is a tough one because Miami played a great game last week in beating Tennessee. See, Tennessee I had a little bit of expectation. I have them competing in the AFC South, But after seeing their performance, it was bad. But the Miami Dolphins look good. But is that just because it was the Tennessee Titans? But you saw the way the Jets played. They looked like a complete team on Monday night when they just destroyed the Detroit Lions. Sam Darnold looked good after his pick 6 on his first career pass. The Jets had 4 interceptions on Matthew Stafford. The Jets are going to win this one. Right in the middle of the pack, I have them confidently. At 10, 2 0-1 teams. I just mentioned the Tennessee Titans losing in Miami. Well, they're at home against Houston this week, and they're going to lose again. They're going to start 0-2. Houston Texans. Deshaun Watson's going to bounce back, have a monster week. Took him a little bit get into it, coming off his injury. Week 1 in New England, tough game, did not play well. Week 2, he's coming back. We're going to see the Deshaun Watson we saw before his injury last season as a rookie. He's coming back. Houston wins this one. At 11, and we're getting more and more confident here. San Francisco at home against the Detroit Lions. Lions look terrible. I'm not sure if they're going to bounce back or not from that. The spanking they took from a rookie quarterback on week 1 on primetime on Monday night. They're going to face Jimmy G and the San Francisco 49ers, who lost a 1-score game in Minnesota. 49ers are taking this one. At number 12, this is where it gets messy because I already got it wrong. In case you're wondering, I already got it wrong. Thursday night, I picked the Baltimore Ravens to win in Cincinnati. And we'll get to the Ravens later. I want to talk about them, why I'm a fool. But I had Baltimore, got that wrong. So there's 12 points out the window for me right off the bat. We're not even the Sunday yet. Number 13, Philadelphia at Tampa Bay. I kind of struggle with this one. I might even have to flip this with Detroit and San Francisco. And I'm going to actually do that right now. I'm going to flip it. I'm going to make 11 my Philly. Because after seeing what Tampa Bay did last week, it raises some eyebrows. Like, I'm not going to put them off until they make me put them off. They put up 48 points on the road in New Orleans. Arguably could be the best team in the NFC. Up there with the Rams, Vikings, Eagles. And they smoked them. They went in there and smoked them. So, yes, it's the Eagles. But they didn't look good week 1. We didn't expect them to look great. It's the first game of the week. First game of the season on a Thursday against a good Falcons team. They're going to win. I think the Eagles are going to go in and win. I'm just not 100% about it because of what Tampa Bay did last week. If Tampa Bay wins this week, I'm not writing them off until they make me. At 14, Cleveland at New Orleans. So last week New Orleans bit me in the butt because I had them at number 16 at the top, most confident. They lost. They're home again against a Cleveland team who just tied the Pittsburgh Steelers. She might think, why are you not confident at all in the Browns? They're not going to win in New Orleans. It's not going to happen. They don't have nearly the offensive power that apparently the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have, with Mike Evans, Deshaun Watson to throw the ball to. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. We're moving on. Number 15, LA Chargers at Buffalo. That's a shoo-in. It's a mess in Buffalo. They're number 1 on my dumpster fire. They start Nathan Peterman, who has no more experience than Josh Allen, who they traded up to draft. Buffalo's in a lot of trouble right now. They're going to get smoked just like they did last year. Peterman's 5 picks in the first half. At 16, most confident, another shoe-in, Arizona at the Rams. The Rams are going to win this one easy. Might be the best overall team in this league, up and down the roster, from offense, defense, special teams. They're not going to lose to Arizona at home. That's it. There's Cole's confidence picks of week 2. Clap, clap. Thank you. We move on. The $50 take. I'm putting $50 on the table. Why Sam Darnold is starting right away for the New York Jets, and why the other QBs taken in that first round are not. And here's why. Sam Darnold is the dude. The Jets have found their dude, and it's good for them. Fortunately for the other teams, I don't know if they did. They're not confident enough to start him. Here's my take. If you draft someone in the top 10 of the NFL draft, they need to be NFL ready by week 1. If they're not, why are you drafting them? You're spending a dreadful previous season on this pick, unless you're trading way up. But if you're picking in the top 10, you had a terrible season before. And to sit them, let them develop, in quotes, only sets you back even more. See, you sit this person for a year or two. Then there's changes made on the roster in other places. You might get worse at a position and special teams than the secondary. So you sit them. You need to have them there playing, working with what they have, see what they got. Whatever you're taking in the first round should be the missing piece to your success. So why are they on the bench? They say that experience is the only real way to learn and grow, and I fully believe in that. You're not learning to be an NFL quarterback, a franchise quarterback, by sitting and watching the guy ahead of you. It's not how it works. You can learn things from them. You can study a lot. You don't actually go out there physically and see what the defense is giving you. You think Baker Mayfield is getting better as a future NFL quarterback by studying the playbook and watching Tyrod Taylor run the Cleveland offense? Tyrod Taylor hasn't sniffed 300 yards passing in his career in one time. He hasn't sniffed it. Yeah, he's a game manager. That's what he did for Buffalo last year. That's why they got to the playoffs. It was because of his game managing in their defense. He still can't throw the ball down the field efficiently. Like I said, hasn't sniffed a 300-yard passing game through the air. Mayfield is one of those guys that just gets it. He's got the dude factor, as my man Colin Cowherd likes to say. He's got the dude factor. He's got it. He's got the competitive nature, that dog in him. He goes out and wants to win. Grooming him, sitting him there behind Tyrod Taylor doesn't do you any good. Have you ever had your choice of toys as a kid? Your parents take you shopping, they reward you from walking around bored all day, and they get you a toy. You have the choice at what you want. You choose your toy, you play with it for a few weeks, few months, then you get bored with it. Found out 30 years later, if you would have just kept it in the box and not wasted your time by playing with it for 3 weeks, you would have made a fortune because it's a prized collectible item. I've seen that. You see it all the time. You go on and you're like, look at these prized collector's items that are worth a fortune. You go through the list. You're like, I had that. Only played with it for a week and a half. Should have just kept it in the box. Yeah. Well, the NFL is opposite of that. You have a top 5 pick in the NFL draft. You want to make the right choice. so you can play with it for as long as you want. As long as it can keep moving, keep bringing you joy. You can't keep it in the box. Keep it on the sideline to develop under your other toys. That's not how it works. It's not going to be valuable 30 years later, 20 years later, 40 years later. In the NFL, that's a huge waste. Huge waste. You want to play with it as much as you can, as long as you can. To do that, you have to play them the right way. Play with them the right way. If they aren't ready to play, don't take them. Don't buy it. Don't draft them. Yeah, there's rare cases we see. We draft guys, we sit them behind their veteran QB. Well, here's your rare case. Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre for 3 years because Brett Favre is one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history. He's the franchise face of the Packers for years, since the late 90s. Aaron Rodgers was the 24th pick in the 2005 NFL Draft. No one expected him to be Aaron Rodgers today. Mr. Aaron Rodgers that he is today. No one expected that. This is a different story. They didn't pick him in the top 5. Tom Brady. He was a 6th round pick. He sat behind Drew Bledsoe. Took over when he got injured. These are rare cases that they're not even a rare case. They're not on the same spectrum. If you're taking your quarterback in the top 5, top 10 in the NFL draft, they should be ready to play in the NFL. The Jets made the right move. They started Darnold right away because he is their guy. He'll go through bumps and bruises, sure. You've already seen it. He threw a pick 6 on his first career NFL pass. You know who else did that? Brett Favre. Brett Favre's going to be in the Hall of Fame. And not only that, but he goes on, throws 2 touchdowns. The Jets beat Detroit 48-17 on the road on Monday night. The Bills, they start Nathan Peterman, who I mentioned has no more experience than Josh Allen, the rookie. They traded up to get Josh Allen in the top 10. They traded up to get him. And they sit him not behind Tyrod Taylor because they let him go after bringing him to the playoffs. Not behind A.J. McCarron, who they traded for in the offseason. They sat him behind Nathan Peterman, who has 1/2 of NFL experience more than Josh Allen, and he threw 5 interceptions. Now Josh Allen's going to play. He's starting week 2. We'll see what he does. Should have started week 1. Maybe the Bills wouldn't have lost 48-3. The Browns, they start Tyrod Taylor. Talking about him at Buffalo, he's still not a great quarterback. He goes 19 through 40 through the air. They tie the Steelers. You know how many chances they had to win that game? They had 2 chances in overtime to win the game. Couldn't get it done. Had a field goal blocked. If you're taking a draft pick in the top 10, play him. That's your missing piece. Why are you drafting them if you're going to sit them? There's a lot of things that can go into it. Oh, we need to grab him right now. We have our franchise quarterback, but we need to grab him just so we have him. No. Get what you need. If you have a spot that's already taken, you need to play for the now. The New England Patriots play for now. They draft what they need, and they utilize them in the best way they can with Bill Belichick, with Tom Brady at the under center. And they grab what they get. They don't draft a quarterback because they think Tom Brady's going to retire in 3 years and let him sit under him. They don't do that. The Patriots play for now, and it's why the New England Patriots have been the best dynasty in sports we've seen ever since the early 2000s. They're the longest running successful franchise we've seen because they play for now. They draft for now. Why are we taking the number 1 pick just to sit him behind another quarterback who hasn't won a playoff game, hasn't sniffed 300 yards through the air? Think about that. Moving on. Still in the NFL. Here's the ticker. I'm not happy with myself. Not happy. Very upset, actually. Not really. It's only week 2. I'll get over it. This was what I was going to talk about yesterday on the show. Never happened. Why not to bet against Joe Flacco and why the Ravens will make the playoffs this season? I chuckle because I say that, and I'm watching the game last night on Fox on the NFL Network. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman on the call. I'm sitting there. Joe Flacco throws a pick. Bengals score right just like that. 7-0. I leave for about 5 minutes, come back, it's 14-0. The Bengals had the ball inside the Baltimore 20 again. They score again. A.J. Green, 3rd touchdown. It's 21-0. Baltimore down 21-0 on the road. There's no way they're coming back. They start to play a little better. Get a couple drives in. They score quick. Put the ball back again. Had a couple chances. Give up another touchdown. It's 28-7. And then they somehow squeak out a score on 3rd and goal from the 1 right before the half. Cut it to a 2-score lead. Second half, they had plenty of opportunities. And I thought, maybe my take won't be as bad. Maybe I'll be okay. Because they're going to come back and win this game. And it just makes my point even stronger that they can come back from a 21-0 deficit on the road, come back and win a game. But they didn't. They had opportunities. They were sloppy. Flacco's throwing balls behind guys. Not getting enough on his throws. Turnovers. The box score looked good on the Ravens' part on paper. They out-yardaged them. Had more first downs. The Ravens looked okay in the box score. It was the turnovers that killed them. A couple turnovers killed them. And let's get to why I was putting so much into the Baltimore Ravens. And this kind of goes into, I'm going to do it right now, a cooler fool for the day. Is cooler fool for hyping up the Ravens so much. I'm going to say right now I'm a fool. Should not have put all my eggs in one basket with my sleeper pick. A team I wasn't even talking about a few weeks ago. It kind of struck me that, hey, this is Joe Flacco's team where he's getting Lamar Jackson's breathing on his back for the starting job. Baltimore wants his head, especially if they don't start well. Last time he faced pressure, 2012-2013 season. Took the Ravens to the Super Bowl, won the Super Bowl. Yeah. And that's why I had some faith in Joe Flacco for once. See, Joe Flacco is like an Eli Manning. He's another Eli Manning, just a couple years younger. Plays well in the big spots like the playoffs. Eli Manning in the Giants' regular season, he's terrible in the regular season most of the time. Outside of those 2 Super Bowl runs that Eli made miraculously, 07-08 and then 11-12. Outside of those 2 Super Bowl runs, the Giants have been a below-average team in the NFL. They had one good season outside of that, and that was 2 years ago. They go 11-5, losing Green Bay in the opening round. Joe Flacco brought the Ravens to the Super Bowl, won the Super Bowl, had a good year. I mean, you look at his numbers. 3,800 passing yards. 22 touchdowns. Joe Flacco had a good year that year. He was facing a contract. Staring straight in the face of whether he was going to become a Raven anymore. He played. He turned it up, tuned it up, and that's why this year I thought he was going to do the same thing. Still possible. Here's the thing. Yes, I'm a fool. I put way too much hype into him, and they go down 21-0 early to Cincinnati. But it's only week 2. It's only week 2. I think they still make the playoffs as a wild card. And I'm not counting out the Bengals either. They look good. The Cincinnati Bengals have looked great in 2 weeks. Andy Dalton has looked superb. It's going to catch up to him. I have more faith that the Ravens are going to finish a game or two above the Bengals. So I'm still hyping up the Ravens here. I just feel like a fool for doing it so early. That's why we have a long season. We have a lot to talk about. A lot of different things that come up that happen. All right. Another big take here. So, after thinking about it, see, I'm going to point to Los Angeles for a second. Do we or do we not see pro sports cities, competing against one another? Not even just pro sports. Forget pro sports. Sports, pro and college, and collegiate level. Just cities in general that have sports competing against each other within their given sport. Yeah, obviously there's the competition with the teams in your league. I'm talking about within your city. Can we look at LA, for example? No, it's amazing just to look at it. If you put it in order here, the Rams, St. Louis Rams moved to LA. They're the LA Rams. Shortly after that, Magic Johnson comes to town. He's now for the Lakers. Big man, big shot for the Lakers. Coming back to his old team. Jerry West, the old-time Laker, logo of the NBA, comes to town to the Clippers. Then we get college into it. UCLA, they bring in Chip Kelly as their new head coach. More basketball. LeBron rumors start to spur. Everyone's like, LeBron's going to go to LA. LeBron's going to LA. He's going to come in, he's going to beat Kobe. They're all going to love LeBron. The Rams then go and get Ndamukong Suh, Marcus Peters, Aqib Talib. They just beef up that defense. Their offense clicked last year. It was great. Jared Goff looked good. Todd Gurley became the best running back in the NFL. They go beef up their defense. Lakers then do officially sign LeBron James. There's a meeting. Magic and LeBron had a meeting together at LeBron's house. Comes out the next day he signs. He's a Laker. Then the Dodgers. We're going to get some baseball now. The Dodgers. They go and get Manny Machado as their rental for this year. The All-Star break. They're struggling. They're not winning the NL West after they dominated it the last couple years. They're losing. They got a 500 record. They go and get Manny Machado. Look now. The Dodgers are only a game and a half out. But the Rockies in the West, a game out of the wild card. Dodgers are going back. And they have Manny Machado on their side. Then the Lakers go out and sign a bunch of bad boys. JaVale McGee, Lance Stevenson, Rajon Rondo. They're the bad boys. They need that toughness, the grit to add to LeBron and all the young studs like Kyle Kuzma. Yeah. That's it. You see this. You don't really see it until you put it down on paper. That's what I did. Pen to paper. Writing down everything chronological order in the city of LA since the beginning of last year. All of that happened. You go football. You go from the Rams, the Lakers, the Clippers, UCLA football, back to the Lakers and Rams. Lakers again, Dodgers. We're just missing the Anaheim Angels here. LA Angels. Yeah, they don't really care. They got Mike Trout. They actually said last night they're looking to lock him up for life. Good luck, Mike. Best player in baseball today, Mike Trout, and he's stuck in LA where they can't win. Good luck. You guys should hop on this train. Angels, you need to hop on this train, compete with all these other squads. LA Rams might win the Super Bowl this year. The Lakers might win the title in a couple years. You got the best player in the MLB, and he's sitting there watching you guys lose. Had a good shot this year. A lot of people thought you'd make the wild card, including myself. Yeah, you're below 500. You're not going back. You're wasting Mike Trout's talent. Join in. Join the club. Go get somebody. Yeah, you got Shohei Ohtani. He's going to have surgery. He might not play next year. Go make a move, Angels. Join in. Join the LA club of competing cities. How about that? All right. So I already gave you my cooler fool. I'm a fool for hyping up the Ravens so much. It's the final dollar. Last dollar of the day. See, the world is all about connections. We all know that. I've been told since day one. It's about who you know, not what you know. You can know the most in the world. If you don't have some connections, you're not going anywhere. You're going to have that plain old job that you were hoping not to have. You got to meet some people. You got to make those connections. You're set. Just look at all the head coaches, offensive coordinators around the NFL, college football. Coach Orgeron at LSU is one of those guys. Talked about him earlier in his story, his journey. And it starts this weekend in Auburn. Everyone there, they only care about the SEC big games, LSU. If you don't go out and win a national championship, be upset about it. They push it to the side a little bit. But they ask, if they don't know, they ask, did you beat Alabama? Did you beat Auburn? That's all they care about, beating your rival SEC schools. So for Coach O, this weekend it starts. Now, not many other people would have as many opportunities as Coach O has gotten. But he's been under the wing like Pete Carroll, Lane Kiffin, Les Miles, Paul Pasqualoni. He now has a chance to prove he belongs in Death Valley. The homegrown LSU kid dreaming to be a part of the program someday, well, he's here. This is your chance, Ed. Beat Auburn. Start 3-0. Have that big chip on your shoulder heading in the deep into SEC play. Beat Alabama. That's all it takes to be taken seriously in the most powerful football conference in the NCAA, the SEC. Dominated for years. Do that and you'll make a remarkable story. Just do it. Starts this weekend, tomorrow afternoon. We're rooting for you. Go Tigers. Purple and gold. Let's do it. Good luck, Coach O. You love a great sports story and the journey. So, that's going to do it. That's going to be it today from Cole's Corner. Thank you for listening. We'll be back next week. Recap of Week 2 in the NFL. Approaching MLB playoff season. Once October comes around, I'm going to be all jacked up over here. Best month of the year when it comes to sports. MLB playoffs, NFL, college football in full swing. Let's get it. You have been listening to Cole's Corner. Thank you for joining. We'll see you next week.